Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today we are going to be talking about an older album. This is the fabulous Johnny Cash by none other than the Man in Black himself, Johnny Cash, released on November 3rd, 1958. This was the third studio album released by Johnny Cash. Released on Columbia Records. This was shortly after Johnny left the famed Sun Records, or Sun Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Sam Phillips and had started recording records for that label, and then he departed. In many ways, similar to the way Elvis Presley left for RCA. This was Johnny Cash leaving an independent label and going to a major label. And so a very, very big time for Johnny Cash. He was a big star by this point and doing quite well. And so this was a successful album. It had 5 tracks that Johnny had written and some of the backing vocals by the famous Jordanaires, again associated with Elvis Presley. Because Johnny used the Jordanaires, Elvis used the Jordanaires on his RCA recordings. And pretty short album. It's only about 30 minutes long, but it's very well put together. It flows quite nicely. Really, what happened? A lot of the sessions were recorded pretty quickly at Columbia. Usually about a couple months they went in and recorded this stuff, and so he kind of was doing a lot of material at once as opposed to coming in and out of the studios like he was doing at Sun. This was a big debut for Columbia. It sold 500,000 copies, and it did quite well. And it was recorded at the same time as the Hymns album by Johnny Cash, which, from what I understand in the story, that particular album was sort of one of the stipulations. Johnny wanted to do gospel music, and so one of the stipulations of him going to Columbia or signing with Columbia was so he could do that. Talking about the tracks on the album, we'll talk about the ones written by Johnny Cash. Run Softly, Blue River was on here. Frankie's Man, Johnny. He also, I Still Miss Someone, which is a very popular Johnny Cash song. Don't Take Your Guns to Town was one of the others. And Pickin' Time were the Johnny Cash songs on here. Now also on here were some songs like That's Enough, One More Ride, I'd Rather Die Young. So this album went quite far in sort of establishing the legend of Johnny Cash that became known. Produced by Al Quaglieri and Don Law, and so featuring in addition to the Jordanaires, we had Luther Perkins on this album, Marshall Grant playing bass. So you had the Tennessee Two, along with a few other folks, like Don Helms on steel guitar, and Marvin Hughes on piano. So a little augmented sound, but more of that sort of traditional boom chicka boom kind of Johnny Cash song. Now the singles on here were Don't Take Your Guns to Town and Frankie's Man, Johnny. Released, it was a #1. Don't Take Your Guns to Town was a #1 country single, and Frankie's Man, Johnny was a top 10 single, and those songs also charted on the pop chart, so they did quite well, and it was a top 20 album in the pop chart. So, like I said, successful album, and really a good testament to Johnny Cash and sort of the legend that built around Johnny Cash. So the fabulous Johnny Cash is today's Daily Record. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Excuse me. Love hearing from you guys. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.